Welcome, strangers, and strangists. This is another tale of magical motherly mayhem, this time borrowed from Russian tales. So sit back and get ready for Vasilisa the Beautiful. Like many tales, this begins with a happy family, a beautiful daughter Vasilisa, well-meaning, if often misguided father, and a loving mother. Alas, no fairy tale can stay in this idyllic state for long, and the mother falls ill. She calls Vasilisa to her side and gives her a doll, saying, "I will soon leave you, but if you are ever in need, give the doll a little food and she will help you." And so we lose the loving mother, and no one gasps in surprise. Luckily for Vasilisa, her father wanted to provide well for her. Unluckily, he thought providing must include a stepmother and stepsisters. This idea isn't inherently bad, but this is a fairy tale, and things are never that simple. As you, dear listener, would expect, this stepset were unkind to Vasilisa. The stepsisters mocked her incessantly, and the stepmother insisted she do all the most grueling work around the house. Vasilisa's father cannot object, since shortly after getting married, he travels far and wide to find his fortune. However, Vasilisa had her secret counterpoint, her mother's doll. She would simply give the doll a little food, and it would do all the work for her, while Vasilisa was able to rest in the shade, or work as she liked. The doll even taught her a salve for sunburn. The stepset, of course, noticed that Vasilisa did not look as though she'd been worked to the bone, and only grew more and more jealous, as Vasilisa grew more and more beautiful. One day, the stepmother conspired to put out all the flames except a single candle. She had her daughters and Vasilisa work. One stepsister knitting, the other embroidering, and Vasilisa spinning yarn. Then the stepmother went to bed. Eventually, the candle went out, and they were left in darkness. One stepsister said, "One of us shall have to go to our closest neighbor for a light. It shan't be me, for I can see well enough by my knitting needle's reflections." The other stepsister said, "It shan't be me, for I can see by the shine of my needle." Together they cried, "Vasilisa, it must be you! Go fetch a light!" And they pushed her out the door and locked it behind her. Now this seems harmless, until I tell you that their closest neighbor was Baba Yaga, clever and sly, who gobbles people up in the blink of an eye. Vasilisa pulled her mother's doll out of her pocket, gave it a spare crust of bread she'd saved, and said, "Oh, doll, I don't know what to do, for my sisters have insisted I go to Baba Yaga's hut for a light." The doll ate the crust and said, "Don't be afraid, Vasilisa, for as long as I am with you, no harm will come to you." Vasilisa, feeling encouraged, set out. She walked through the rest of the night, and suddenly a white horse with a rider dressed all in white, and even a white saddle rushed past her. As it did, the barest bit of light started to grow. She walked farther, and a red horse with a rider dressed all in red, and a red saddle rushed past her. As it did, the sun rose, and the forest was bathed in red gold sunlight. She continued walking through the entire day, and as night was drawing near, approached a fence made of bones. The gate was of arm bones, and the latch was a set of teeth. All along the fence, skulls were evenly placed. Then a black horse, with a rider dressed all in black, and a black saddle rushed past her. As it did, night truly fell, and the eyes of the skulls began to glow. And Vasilisa was frozen, for she did not know what to do. Then through the woods she heard a crashing and creaking, a smashing and sweeping, a noise getting closer and closer. When it arrived, she saw Baba Yaga, riding her mortar, propelling herself forward with the pestle, and sweeping away the tracks with a broom behind her. Baba Yaga asks, "Why are you here?" Vasilisa says, "Please, might I have a light? All the lights in my house have gone out, and my stepsisters insisted I come to you." I know those stepsisters of yours, and your stepmother, she is a kinswoman of mine. You should come in." And then she declares, "Come unlocked, my bolts so strong, open up my gates so wide." And the gate opened, and she led Vasilisa through it. They passed a willow tree, whose branches bent to lash Vasilisa, but Baba Yaga said, "Do not lash, she is with me." Then a dog came bounding up to bite Vasilisa, but Baba Yaga said, "Do not bite, she is with me." As they entered the door, a grumbly cat reached out its paws to scratch Vasilisa, but Baba Yaga said, "Do not scratch her, she is with me." Finally, Baba Yaga turned to Vasilisa and said, You see, it is difficult to run away, for if you try, my cat, dog, and willow will attack you, and the gate will not open. But now I am hungry. Bring me whatever is in the stove or larder for me to eat." So Vasilisa did. She brought out half a cow, roasted whole, a pot of stew, several loaves of bread, and barrels of wine and beer. Baba Yaga, cunning and sly, who gobbles people up in the blink of an eye, ate the entire feast, only leaving a crust of bread and some thin broth for Vasilisa. She then said, "Tomorrow you must prepare my dinner, as well as do all the chores around the house. You must also sort through the sack of poppy seeds, making sure not a speck of dust is left in them. If you don't, I shall eat you instead." Upon saying this, she sat on a bench in the corner, propped her feet on the table, and started snoring, fast asleep. Vasilisa crept upstairs, gave her doll the crust and broth, and said, "Oh, doll, I need your help, for if I don't fulfill Baba Yaga's orders, she shall eat me." The doll ate the crust and said, "Don't be afraid, Vasilisa. Go to sleep. Mornings are wiser than evenings." Vasilisa slept, and though she woke before dawn, Baba Yaga had already left. She looked out the window and saw the red horse and rider run up to the gate and disappear over it as dawn broke. She went downstairs and found the doll already hard at work. The doll had prepared a small breakfast for Vasilisa, which she ate while the doll finished all the chores. Then all that remained was sorting the poppy seeds. The doll said, "I call the songbirds, the robins and larks, to help sort the seeds, lest they sit in the dark." And with a flurry of wings, the birds came and sorted out the poppy seeds. When Baba Yaga returned, she looked briefly annoyed that Vasilisa had completed her tasks, but her mood improved upon eating the doll's feast Vasilisa presented. Baba Yaga, cunning and sly, who gobbles people up in the blink of an eye, called, "Press the oil, my helpers three," and 3 pairs of hands appeared to carry away the poppy seeds, returning shortly after with them all pressed. Baba Yaga again told Vasilisa to cook and do the chores, and this time to sort a basket of grain. Then she propped herself up and began to snore. The second day went much like the first. Vasilisa fed the doll, who said mornings are wiser than evenings. The next day, Baba Yaga had again left before Vasilisa awoke, and the doll again enlisted the help of the local songbirds to sort the grain. When Baba Yaga returned, she cried, "Grind the grain, my helpers three." And again 3 pairs of hands appeared to carry away the grain, returning with a basket of flour shortly after. Baba Yaga, cunning and sly, who gobbles people up in the blink of an eye, then turned to Vasilisa. "You've served me well for 2 days. Now if you have any harmless questions, you may ask them." Vasilisa pondered for a moment. "As I was traveling to your house, a white horse with a rider dressed in white and a white saddle passed me. Who was it?" "Ah, that is my bright day." "And after, a red horse with a rider dressed in red and a red saddle passed me. Who was it?" "That is my red sun." "And as night fell, a black horse with a rider dressed in black and a black saddle passed. Who was it?" "That is my black knight. Have you any other questions?" Vasilisa thought of the invisible helpers. "No, I will ask no more questions." "Good, for if you had asked about anything within the gate, I would surely have eaten you. Now go upstairs, I must sleep." At this reminder that Baba Yaga eats people, Vasilisa determines she must leave. She again feeds the doll and asks for advice. This time the doll tells her what to do, and to do it quickly. So Vasilisa gives the cat a bowl of milk, and the grumpy cat allows her to pass without scratches. She gives the dog a loaf of bread, and he does not bite her. She carefully ties her hair ribbon around the willow tree, and its branches do not lash her. She oils the gate's hinges, and it opens silently for her. She chooses one of the glowing skulls, puts it on a stick, and begins the long trek home. When Baba Yaga awakens the next day, she confronts the cat. "Why did you not scratch her?" "You've never given me anything nice, but she gave me a bowl of milk." Baba Yaga goes to the dog. "Why did you not bite her and bark?" "You've never given me even a dry crust, but she gave me an entire fresh loaf of bread." Then to the willow. "Why did you not lash her eyes?" You've never tied so much as a string around my branches, but see the beautiful ribbon she gave me." Finally, Baba Yaga challenges the gate. "Why did you open for her?" "You never even poured water on my hinges, but she oiled them." These statements enraged Baba Yaga so much, she takes her wrath out on the gate, smashing it to bits, the willow tree uprooting it and making it firewood, and the dog and cat driving them off into the forest. Then she is so tired she takes a nap and forgets about Vasilisa when she wakes up. Vasilisa arrives home and is welcomed enthusiastically by her stepsisters and stepmother. They have been unable to strike any matches within the house, and any match or torch or candle brought from a neighbor goes out as soon as it crosses the threshold. So Vasilisa carries the skull into their house, but its eyes begin to glow brightly, then to burn furiously, and the light directs itself at Vasilisa's stepfamily, burning them no matter how they try to hide. It finally ends when they have been burned to ashes. Vasilisa buries the skull near her mother's grave and goes to the city. She finds a lovely widow who offers her room and board and lives happily for a little while. Then Vasilisa asks the widow, "Will you find me flax to spin? I must have something to do." The widow insists no repayment is necessary, but finds the flax anyway. Vasilisa spins it into fine thread, so fine it looks like a spider web. She then weaves it into cloth so soft and fine it could be passed through the eye of a needle. She gives it to the widow, saying, "Please go and sell this. I would like to return your kindness in some way." But the widow thought, "This is too fine to sell. It ought to be a gift for the Tsar." So she goes to the Tsar's palace and presents it to him, returning to Vasilisa and reporting the Tsar's delight in the gift. However, the Tsar cannot find anyone willing to sew with the cloth, since they are afraid they will mar the beauty of the weaving. So he summons the widow and asks her to make a shirt from the cloth. The widow answered, "I was not the one to make the cloth, but I will take it to the one who did and ask her." So Vasilisa makes not one but 2 shirts from the cloth, giving them to the widow to return to the Tsar. When the Tsar sees her handiwork, he insists he must thank her in person. So the widow goes and fetches Vasilisa the Beautiful and brings her to the palace. The Tsar falls in love with Vasilisa, and they are married later that year. In time, Vasilisa's father returns, and both he and the widow come to live with them in the palace, and Vasilisa carries her mother's doll with her always, tucked into a pocket. The moral of this story is, maybe don't go a full day's journey into the wood to get fire from a known cannibal, when clearly other neighbors and matches are available.